Howdy. I've been wanting to tackle a bit of a cleaning project. So this is like something, I'm on my 34 right now, and like I'm kind of a neat freak, and which doesn't always like intersect very well with trucking. I always want to do these things during, like when I'm working during the week, I'm like, oh, I really want to do this thing. I want to clean this up. Sorry if the wind is loud. Hopefully it's not too bad. But then it's like, you can't really do these things during the week. It's just, you're too busy. You don't have time to mess with it. So this box is where these are like, I don't know what the term is, the correct term. I think of them as load heads. But that's more like the things that connect to the truck when you're actually loading, whatever. These things connect to the ground and the hoses to drop fuel into the ground. And so they end up with some fuel in them, obviously. And then that spills into the bottom here and it's like kind of dirty. And then my gloves are sitting right here, and because the way they're kind of laying there, they end up getting dirt. They get gross. They get inside them gets dirty, and like I hate when I get my hands and my nails dirty. And I know that sounds like, why are you a truck driver then? That's just me. I know I'm not the only one out here who feels like that. And what's funny is when I was a new driver and I was training at Schneider, one of the things that like jumped out at me that I'll never forget was when I was we were doing some kind of outside training. And the different instructors had their trucks that were their trucks. I don't know if they actually drove some of the time. I think they maybe did do a run like every couple of weeks. I heard something about that. But they had their own trucks and they would use them to train us in. A couple of the guys that led the training, the instructors, like head instructors, were military guys. And their trucks reflected that. Their trucks were clean and organized, and this one of them, I remember like opening the side box and being like, whoa, it's like super clean and organized. And I had just been working in another job right before that where this guy had, you know, this old Volvo that was like really dirty, and he had that mentality of like, well, why clean it if it's just gonna get dirty again? Which I was like, okay, that doesn't really fit with my standards. When I saw that, oh, this is a thing that some people do, is like really take the time to keep their truck clean and organized, I was like, okay, I can do this. It's weird because when you're new at something, you feel like you should sort of follow along with what other people do. And to me, I could go on a whole long, like, I don't want to sound lecture-y, but basically I think when you're doing a job like this that is sensitive, safety sensitive, and where you're being scrutinized by legal entities, it's a very good idea to keep your shit together. And that means clean and organized, because that kind of stuff does get noticed. And I think especially when you're hauling hazmat, that's even more the case. My truck is a giant billboard, you know, and it's bright and it stands out. And the way I carry myself and the way that I operate my truck and the way that I keep my truck and my trailer reflects on the company. So I keep that in mind all the time. And I want to have a strong work ethic, and even that comes down to like cleanliness and organization. So I guess that's enough of that. So let me get to cleaning. So even just like taking these out of the truck, my hands are already pretty dirty. So thankful for gloves. I've got a thing of dish soap here, and I've got some rubbing alcohol. I'm going to start with just the alcohol and see if that works. And I'm using one of these pads that is an absorbent pad. I have a bunch of them in my truck. They're supposed to be used for spills. They're not necessarily meant to be used for cleaning, but I'm going to use one, and hopefully that'll do the whole job. But let me see if I can show you how grimy this is. I guess I'm going to have to take this off so I don't get grime all over my phone. I wasn't even planning on putting on my coveralls because I'm on my 34 and I'm like, I'm not wearing work clothes. And then I was like, nah, you probably should. So let me show you here. So you can see that's all pretty nasty in there. That's, you know, where some stuff has spilled. It's not terrible. I mean, that's what it's for. This contains these pieces that end up getting a lot of gross stuff in them. And I'm putting the pads down here to keep from getting anything on the ground, but there's really nothing in them that would run out at this point because it's all like in there. So let me take care of this here. scrub brush, to be honest. This probably isn't going to get it as clean as I would like, but it is helping. It is doing something. I feel like I should probably throw a little of this in there and see if this helps. Let's see what happens.
Beat explosion. Beat chocolate. Beat explosion. Beat chocolate.
Working to a certain extent, I think it would be a lot more effective if I had like poured some of this stuff in there and let it sit. The dish soap is effective. It's more effective, I think, than just the alcohol. The dish soap is generic Dawn, by the way. It's coming off. So satisfying. Clean freaks will understand. Where are my clean freaks at? I know my mom is watching this and she is definitely enjoying it. So the project I did last weekend on my truck was I started doing, I think I mentioned to you guys how I was going to decorate the inside of my truck. I started doing contact paper and I think it's really cute. It's like this faux brick and I really like it. I think it's really cute, but I ran out before I was able to finish it. But I'll show you guys a little clip in here. So when I go back home, that contact paper is at Target, so I'll probably have to head over to Target and hopefully I'll be able to find another couple of rolls. This has been driving me crazy. I'm so glad I'm doing this. It's not getting as clean as I would like it to, but it's definitely an improvement. It's one of those things too, when you're up close to it, you're like, oh, it's not working that well, but once you get done and then you come back to it, and when I come back to it tomorrow when I'm working, I'm gonna be like, it's pretty good. I'm also gonna switch out my gloves for a nice new clean pair, and I have a little thing I'm gonna do to keep my gloves clean. I'll show you. Things that you learn really quickly when you haul fuel is like never, ever, 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 ever touch anything outside your truck or like in here without gloves on. And like these gloves are not what I would normally be wearing when I'm working. I'm usually wearing gloves that are like this, that are chemical resistant gloves. But like there's been a couple of instances where something happened and I needed to like shut off a valve or something really quick. Like I don't touch these ever with the gloves on. These stay clean. It's just little habits you get used to when you need the gloves and when you don't. So you have a rhythm of taking gloves off and putting them back on. Well, I didn't have the gloves on, and in my brain I didn't think about it. And I just really quickly grabbed that cap and went to throw it back on. And I'm like, oh, instantly your hands are covered with black grease and or whatever it is. I don't know if it's like diesel residue or what it is, but it's dirty as shit. It's whatever these are covered in. That's like on your hands now. It's gnarly. So yeah, you learn real quick. So this first side, I got done with it. It's pretty clean. It's not perfect, but it's really nice and clean compared with how it was. I put a pad down to try to sort of keep that clean. And now I'm going to move this over, clean this area here, clean all this, gently wipe this stuff down. This is, you can see this little cap here, the scully cap. Let me just take my phone off again. Like this really illustrates it. This I never touch. This I touch with gloved hands, and that's why that thing is all grody. So I'm going to try to clean that off too, because I don't like that. It bothers me. All right, let's get to it. All right, check it. It's much cleaner. So see how bright those are now? I love that. It's very satisfying. And all this down here, it's pretty nice and clean. The only thing that bums me out is I was all excited because I'm a dork, and I got these little magnetic clips thinking that I could hang my gloves, because I saw another driver had some kind of clips that he had inside this door that he was hanging his gloves from, so that the gloves aren't like on the base where stuff is gonna, you know, debris and dirt and grime and fuel, whatever else is gonna get on them. So I have to figure out another solution to hang my gloves inside there. But otherwise, it's I would say it's a pretty successful little project I got done here. I think the dish soap helped a lot, but the main thing that really did the job was rubbing alcohol, and I didn't even have to use all that much of this bottle to get it pretty clean, and a little elbow grease. But I would say if you wanted to do this, if you needed to clean something like this in your own truck, I would just pour some of it on there, let it sit for a couple of minutes. And these pads are awesome. I'm sure they're not cheap, so I don't intend to like, you know, use a bunch of them to do that kind of job, but I didn't need to. I was able to use just a couple of them, and they're really effective because they're super absorbent. That's what they're designed to do, and you'd be surprised how much you can get out of one of those. So this is real specific to people who are going to haul fuel, but whatever. This is this weekend's cleaning project. Yeah, this was fun. This weekend, today's Friday? I think today's Friday. Yeah, today's Friday. I never know what day it is. Getting back to it tomorrow, so I'm going to spend the rest of my night relaxing. So I will catch you guys later. Good morning and happy Sunday to you. I look shiny today, and that's partly skincare and that's partly sunscreen. Someone in my comments was like, buy a gallon jug of sunscreen, and I don't know if they were referring to the whole bulb thing and the sun sensitivity. Like I mentioned, my scalp burns real easily, but I use so much sunscreen. I have, while I'm driving, I wear these sun sleeves to protect my skin and my tattoos specifically from sun damage, because nothing will ruin tattoos faster than the sun. Also, you know, it's just, skin cancer is a legitimate risk that everyone should consider. Saying hi to Tim, he's loading right now. The guy that I said is a sweetheart. But, because he's the best. But I also use this is SPF 50, so if you guys ever see me wearing this in videos, this is actually one of my very important paddleboarding articles of clothing, which, where is it? There's another flap. Oh shoot, did it come off? No, it's just hanging out the back of it. These things are great if you do any like outdoor activities, if you on the water, if you boat or paddleboard or whatever, you know. This keeps it on if it's windy, so you can put it around your chin. And then it has these flaps that will go completely across your face. And now, of course, I can't find that thing. Dang it. Where did it go? Ah! Yeah, it goes like that. Across your face. Face in your face. So it like buttons across your face this way. It buttons up here. There's a button, but it's a pain, so I'm not going to do it. And then across here, so you can breathe, but you also have maximal sun protection with the sunglasses. It's a whole thing. Anywho, I'm still a tiny bit shaky because a little bit ago I was moseying down the road in this 40-mile-per-hour zone. I think I was going a couple miles under the speed limit because it's an area where the lights change kind of quickly, and it's right before where this rack is. And the traffic it's minor traffic today because it's a Sunday, but there's still some traffic. So I'm always kind of on high alert going through this area. And as I was going through this light and I had the green light, a car that was at the red light just started to pull out in front of me. And it was like they just had a brain fart or something, which is totally possible because it happens. I just like, without thinking, I honked on. I never use my air horn. I don't think about it enough, which I should have just used the air horn because that's gonna like get someone's attention much faster. But I hit the horn on the steering wheel, which like, come on, Freightliner, make that horn sound a little bit better. It's like, it's like, that's not gonna alert shit. It's a truck. I know you should just use the air horn, but maybe make both horns like a little more startling, because that's what they're there for. They're not just there for like yelling at someone that you're mad at in the truck stop parking lot like most of these dudes use it for. I had to kind of not slam on my brakes, but I had to brake harder than I normally would, and I think I just said fuck a couple of times to myself. Like, I didn't react to the person. I'm continuously on camera, and anything I do in a situation like that could have generated a video that's going to go to my company, and it's like, I'm always thinking about that, but in that moment, obviously, I didn't think about that. When someone does something like that could potentially cause an accident, because that person, that was kind of not a super close call, but it was a little close for comfort, because it was completely unexpected. I had a green light. But that's a good example of why you should always just anticipate that stupid stuff can happen, and it's always better to err on the side of caution in an area that's a little more congested by going lower than the speed limit or around the speed limit. Obviously, when it makes sense to do so. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to you know, it can be too slow, so you got to figure out the right sweet spot. But man, that was a moment that raised my blood pressure a little bit. So I was like, These things happen. It's a Sunday morning. Maybe the person was a little hungover or something and they're not with it yet. And they're just like, oh, red light. That means I'm supposed to go. I was like, no. Woo, we're awake now, buddy. So yeah, it's just another day, another dollar. Looks like Tim is done loading, so I'm about to pop in there. I am running this back and forth, same old, and I'm a little burnt on it. It makes for a long day if they give me this run again. It ends up being over a 600-mile day with 2 loads and 2 unloads, and it's very difficult to cram that in to my full clock, but I get it done. It's because I'm a fucking professional. All right, I'll catch you guys later.